Hey, PV family, Pastor Sammy here. I'm super excited that we get to spend some time and hear from an amazing couple that actually started our college ministry, H2O, back in 1998. We saw God grow and use this ministry in some beautiful and powerful ways. But then the Lord gave them a crazy vision to leave Winona with their 4 boys and plant Epic Life Church in the heart of North Seattle in 2008. And what a sweet ride this has been. They are Keith and Kristine Carpenter. You guys are family sent out and commissioned from our church body. Please say hi to your PV family.
Pleasant Valley.
Hey everybody, we just bring you greetings from Epic Life Church here in North Seattle, and it's such a blessing to be in your space this morning.
Awesome. How are you guys doing? How are things going in Seattle?
Oh, great. There's no virus here or anything. And
right?
we're doing really well. It's been a tough year for sure, but seeing God work in a lot of different ways.
So there's so many people that know you, love you, have been here for a long time at Pleasant Valley, that were here when you guys were here, and know the impact and the legacy that you left here, which continues to grow, and we're continuing to build from that. And we're so grateful to you guys for the legacy that you left. But there's so many people that have no idea about the history and kind of how this came to be. And so please share with us, kind of taking you back to the mid 90s, late 90s, of how the Lord called you guys to leave everything, to leave your friends, to leave your ministry here, and go into this crazy, amazing journey to start this church in Seattle.
Thanks, Sammy, for asking. And it's such a blessing being able to tell the story, honestly, because it's really the story of God in our life, the Holy Spirit working through us in so many ways. And just a reminder for those of you, the church who were around in the early 90s, we came to Winona to go to college. And we thought we were going to be there for 2 years and get out. I was doing some medical training there. And you never know what God's going to do to somebody, right? And those students who are sitting among you right now, God could put them on a trajectory to start a church in a different city or a different place in the world. And so we came there in 94, I think, to go to school. We got involved in Pleasant Valley when it was just a little church of 200, and volunteered with a college Bible study group of 4 students. And we're just volunteering between college and jobs and starting to have kids and kind of starting to grow up in Winona. Over 10 years of seeing H2O kind of come to fruition, or kind of being planted and then growing, and the amazing students who have come out of that. And then God really tapped us on the shoulder one day in a Sunday morning service. Actually, just tapped us on the shoulder. There's a big story to it, but the basic was, hey, you need to take your leadership team and go start a church. At the time, we called the leadership team the dream team of H2O, and we turned to them and asked them to go plant a church with us in Seattle. And some of them are still here. You guys know Casey Teese, who's still here with her family. Caitlin Schaefer is still here as well. Aaron Schwarzenbart is still here. Others have come and gotten married and moved to Hawaii and Idaho and different places. But in 2006, God tapped us on the shoulder and said, go. And honestly, Kristine and I are country kids, and Winona was the biggest town we wanted to live in. And so God sent us to an super urban space in Seattle to start a church. And he has been on this with us the entire time. Honestly, we didn't know what we were doing then, and it could be said we don't know what we're doing now. But but he's just at work, and last night, he's just at work in so many ways. And I would love at some point in a longer video or with people just tell the stories after stories after stories of people and the ministry he has going here.
Awesome.
We need to hold loosely our expectations, even of what God has called us to, because it's not all revealed to us, and it's a matter of trust and going where He leads. And so we try to define it and we try to plan it out, and then we get frustrated. And I think the COVID crisis has kind of accentuated that for all of us, that we need to hold our expectations loosely. God is in control. He's the one in charge.
How has COVID kind of affected your ministry, your family, all of that stuff?
Yeah, this is a good question. And I'll try to answer without disparaging Seattle too much in the politics here. But it early on did lock down and has remained that way for a long time. And so it's affected us because, somehow a virus became political, and in this city, our politics seldom lines up with the politics of the city, and say it that way. And we battle, we work with this and in and out of different people's understanding of things. And it's been tough. We're part of a North Seattle church group that has about 25 different churches, small and big. And out of those, some of them have seen 200 people leave. We've seen about 25% of the church move away. And
Wow.
It's brutally tough because we've invested our lives in the people, right? And this is a very transitory city anyway. But this last year really caused a lot of people to move away. And then if COVID was the only thing from 2020 we'd be dealing with, that would be something, but it wasn't. And so because of the social justice awareness in Seattle, that's kind of over the top. That's also caused a lot of difficulties, to tell you the truth. But opportunity for us to implant hope in those spaces. With our family, I think our boys are doing well. They're
Struggle
maturing.
with the hypocrisy of some
Yes.
of the protocols.
Mhm.
Right.
That have been like imposed on like businesses and the church and
Or even the school.
schools. Yeah.
Caleb can be on campus now, but there are very, very strict rules. And it becomes, ethical, you have to be truthful in every way. And we want to teach that to our children. And then you have to struggle with the policies and what was
Politics,
fair.
yeah.
It's just difficult that way. And, basically when it comes down to it, we miss people.
Mhm.
Zoom fellowship at the beginning, Easter, Zoom. I mean, we all just got on the screen and just looked at each other. It was kind of weird.
You guys know that, I'm sure,
Yeah,
too.
right?
Yeah. It's weird.
We
It's
have
so
a
hard.
that meets with us here now, but there's no hugging, there's no, interacting on an intimate level. We're all trying, but I think people are hurting deeper than what is shown with the mask, right? It's all deeper. So
Yeah, the amazing thing is, though, we opened a coffee shop in a year of COVID, right? That's
Yeah.
pretty miraculous, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you can expound a little bit about Pilgrim Coffee, how did that come to be? The truck, I know that you provide coffee in the schools, and use it for ministry. Just talk a little bit about that. It's just awesome. It's a really cool idea and concept. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
well, it started off as just, the idea, and then we had a little trailer for a while that
We
parked
had
up.
several incarnations of Pilgrim for sure,
Gotcha.
as we're learning and growing.
Yes.
So a trailer, a truck, a coffee house now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The truck was actually very nice during COVID because it was outside. We didn't lose business. Not like a lot of places, unfortunately, that they had to close their doors.
Mhm.
We were already outside and we could social distance. So it was the best scenario, actually, for the coffee shop is to have that truck. And we had the truck parked right outside the store.
Yeah. Where
So-
we're open now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the beautiful thing is that we actually took over a Starbucks space. So
There we
this
go.
is
Awesome.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
But it's going back 10 years is a space that we used to pray around and pray for. And so the story of Epic Life and 105th and Aurora We opened the church at a theater, at the Oak Tree Village Theater, and started praying over businesses, porn shops and strip clubs and different businesses that are businesses of ill repute, if you will, and praying that God would close those spaces down, and praying around places and asking God to bring good business, knowing that if we could invest and be part of good business, we would also get to know the customers. And it's kind of the strategy of Epic Life, is to know the business community. But God really said, hey, it's time for you to bring business to this neighborhood, because nobody else is really brave enough to open a coffee shop, I think, or any business, right? And so now we're roasting in what used to be a porn shop that we used to lay our hands on, pray the enemy out. That's where we're roasting our coffee. Our coffee shop is in what used to be a Starbucks. It was actually the 6th Starbucks to ever open. Closed down because they couldn't take the community in the neighborhood, and Pilgrim has now opened up in that. And Kristine's right, the truck part of it, it was actually a terrific the timing of God's timing is absolutely amazing. The truck was perfect, and now it can actually go out and be part of ministry in an even greater way.
And one of our favorite ministries for the coffee truck was the area schools. We had an area school that we wanted to bless as a church, and we would bring the coffee truck there in the morning so the teachers could have coffee for free before school. But then other schools picked up on that, and then churches, and they would the PTA would pay, or the church would pay to have the truck go to a school and bless the teachers.
Yeah.
And then several of us would go and talk to the teachers while they were standing in line, and we're excited to do that again in the future. Mm-hmm.
That is just such a neat opportunity and a neat tool to use coffee, of all things that a lot of people love, to just be able to, start conversations and share the gospel. And wow, that is really awesome.
Yeah, and catch this. This is the coffee shop now is in Seattle, of all places, right? There's still room for coffee, and there's still room. Yeah. And it is it will become the hub of this neighborhood, and it's a mile away to another coffee shop. Amazing enough. And so it is the third place. We all need this third place, and your home, your place of business, and a place that you can go and gather and talk, and it's already become that, and it will be the spot of the neighborhood, and hoping that we woo in other good business as we continue to pray that God kicks the enemy out.
Absolutely. That is so cool. So cool that you guys are doing that. And how God provided just miraculously, and just a lot of generous people that believe in what you're doing and being a part of it.
Yeah, and Pleasant Valley has been part of that too. And there's several individuals at the church who have just given graciously and generously over the years, really, to make this a reality. And then, some people. It's amazing what God's done. There's people that we don't even know. I was on a trip about a year ago to Texas preaching at a church, and this family walks up to me afterwards, doesn't know me at all, and takes the checkbook out and writes us the biggest check that I mean, just amazing. And just God saying to them, trust what I'm doing in Seattle, and bless it and make it happen. The blessing of people we know and people we've never met is truly remarkable.
It's really remarkable. Just being obedient and just walking with the Lord, and He opens the path that we don't even know, the people and everything. So, what do you see in the future? I know you guys are visionaries, and you're always thinking ahead of what God is doing and what He has planned. What do you see in the future coming?
Some people have been asking me that recently, and just because the coffee shop's done and they know that there's a list, right? And so I kind of been describing it like the coffee shop, getting this open is a first domino in a lot of ways. And I have a list over here, and it's actually long. But
that's awesome.
And I'll talk about that in a sec. Right now, though, I really feel like the Spirit is calling me to pause a little bit and just to personally grow, to become different leaders. Kristine and I both to be different leaders in the church, so that the church can grow. We can get some personal coaching, and the blessing is that Kristine and my relationship, we're doing super well, and family's doing well for the most part, and we're definitely in a really beautiful season, and we have to take some time here to allow God to speak into our lives with wisdom and insight and His Spirit. And so I don't know how long that moment will be, because this list over here, I'm anxious about getting to it.
You're right.
Yeah,
In the past 13 years.
it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, we
I can
do.
imagine.
The vision is to open 3 Pilgrim Coffee Houses on Aurora Avenue.
Okay.
And it's also to have 2 trucks, a fleet of 2 trucks going to a different school of Seattle every single day of the month,
Mhm.
partnering with a different church. And I'm right now looking into how we could start a local trade school right in our neighborhood for 15 to 20-year-olds, trying to keep these kids off the street. And part of that is even what happened last night. Guy from the street, fresh off of some heroin and demon possessed as well, and
Wow.
coming to these realizations, honestly, that I get we get to this place of going, God, there's nothing we can do. I mean, we had one of our homeless friends pass away here 2 weeks ago as well, and it becomes something that we just don't even know. It's like, God, there's nothing we can do. What can we do here? We believe in your miraculous and what you can do, and why won't you, can't you, aren't you healing through us? And I feel like this burden that if we can grab some of these kids before they get to where this guy was last night, for sure, that we can be part of saving lives in a different way. And so the trade school is part of that, getting kids off the street and opening a different kind of company, organization that
Mhm.
builds into lives and gives people skills and opportunity. So yeah, that's part of that list.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's exciting. It's a big project, but I can see how, it's just kind of, you said, the domino effect of not, have the coffee shop and all these things, you really needed things in the community
Yeah.
are going to happen. I believe it.
Yeah, and part of that is church planting as well. One of the churches that we were able to help plant 4 years ago, just celebrated their 4-year anniversary, is actively planting another church now.
Oh, wow.
And we're part of a church planting network now in the North City, especially, that is actively raising up communities. In fact, next week I have a meeting with this group to look at the map of Seattle and
Mhm.
get some locations down and start wooing church planters into the city in the coming years.
Sweet. Awesome. I just wanted to mention also that, like, for those that don't know, that we serve Pilgrim Coffee here at church, which is super cool to be able to do that and to be able to provide the awesome, amazing coffee that you guys produce. That's really cool. So for those that don't know, we actually drink Pilgrim Coffee here at PV.
Super awesome. And I want you to know how a lot of people can't quite understand how a ministry and business, they're married together.
Mhm.
And it's super hard, and it's hard to talk about that, because we either talk about ministry or we talk about business, and where do they come together? And so coffee, there's an opportunity here to engage in our world in ways that we never could in the past. We can engage with our employees, we can engage with other business owners and with our customers. And then the blessing of actually sending coffee to you, and that you can be part of this in the purchasing power, of course, but also just having good coffee, the story of good coffee in your church. I've come to realize that churches often buy cheap coffee, which actually keeps farmers poor. And so as churches, if we buy a little more expensive coffee, not only do we help farmers around the world, but we help ministries that to grow and thrive as well.
Yeah, it's super, super cool to be able to do that. And what a neat opportunity to help. It just helps the church, it helps the farmers, helps your ministry. We are super honored, very proud of you guys, be able to partner with you, and we can't wait to come visit again soon. Daniel, Chad, and I were there a couple years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about coming down, so probably take my wife. Billy said that she wants to come visit you guys too, so we'll come down soon. Check out the coffee shop, get to hang out with you guys. So thank you so much for your time, taking time to talk with us, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sammy.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Bye.